Formula Ford has seen a transformation in its engines over the last 4 decades, culminating in the latest, the EcoBoost unit. But it all began with the 1600cc Kent engine.
The old Kent cars are very famous. They were around from when Formula Ford started in 1967, and we didn't change that engine until I think 1993. So it's just, there's hundreds and hundreds of those engines around, and people just associate that era of Formula Ford with the Kent engine. So that's the engine they want to keep putting back in those cars.
When we first started doing Formula Ford, the majority of the drivers that were involved at that time were just ordinary working chaps. At the weekend they would get their pickup truck, put their Formula Ford on the back and go off racing.
1600cc, 4-cylinder, iron block, iron head, carburetors, coil points, the normal, old type of engine technology.
The thing with the Kent engine is it was comparatively cheap initially to run the engines.
The Kent engine spanned over 20 years, but in 1993, a new kid on the block took over, the more powerful 1800cc Zetec block.
We held out with the Kent engine for a very, very long time, but in any walks of motorsport now, we have to prove our technology, through our motorsport programs. And if you like, the Zetec in '93 was the very start of that.
The 1800cc injection engine, which was basically the first involvement from a carburetor type engine to a modern injection type engine.
Some 13 years later, in 2006, the heavy Zetec power plant was superseded by the lighter, faster Duratec.
The Duratec was, again, a much lighter engine than the Zetec engine. It went back to 1600, and it was more of a racy engine.
It was light. It had a lot of horsepower. It didn't give any trouble. So it was everything you want an engine to be.
The engines we put in Formula Ford have always been our very popular engines that covered, I won't say most, but a vast number of our vehicle models, whether that was in the Kent days, whether it was the old Cortinas and Escorts, and continuing on with the Zetec, with Mondeo, Focus, Scorpio, and all the engines that may have gone into. We always try and choose the engine that is very, very popular within the Ford range.
And in 2012, the latest generation was introduced, the all-new direct injection turbo EcoBoost.
That produces around 175 horsepower. And again, we had to change to the EcoBoost. We all wanted to change to a very modern engine. Again, it's about the showcasing Ford technology. The 1.6 EcoBoost engine is a very efficient engine. Yes, it's turbocharged, but many of the higher formulas, in some forms of motorsport, are turbocharged. It's something that drivers need to be familiar with. And in reality, what that did give us, because of the way the engine works and because of how production the engine is, and because it's turbocharged, the power is on tap almost immediately.
The whole ethos of Formula Ford has gone up a ladder now that is more of a professional type situation than what it was when it first started.
And in 2013, the EcoBoost power plant is being put into a new car. This is the Formula Ford 200. It's like the old one, but a little bit different.
With our new car for 2013, the EcoBoost 200, clearly we're adding now all of the aerodynamic wings, and that in theory will then end up slowing the car down because of the drag that goes with those. But we're going to increase the performance of the EcoBoost up to about 200, 210 horsepower. It's like anything. We'll always tune it so it's a tiny bit faster when we start, but we know when all of our teams have developed it and they've got their head round how the car works with all the aerodynamic devices, they're going to be at least probably 2 seconds a lap faster than the previous EcoBoost.